You guys, get in here and shut the door. Gene Hackman's daughter has broken her silence in an exclusive paid interview to the Daily Mail. Even though the police say that they don't see any evidence of this carbon monoxide, she is still pushing this theory along. Leslie Ann Hackman told Daily Mail on Thursday that the family is waiting to hear from law enforcement regarding the cause of passing.
The world was shocked by the sudden passing of Gene Hackman, a legendary actor whose career spanned decades. His death marked the end of an era in Hollywood, but what made headlines even more unsettling was the fact that his wife, Betsy Arakawa, was found dead shortly after him. At first, the reports suggested that both deaths were due to natural causes. Yet recent revelations from Hackman's daughter have cast doubt on the official narrative. For weeks, the public accepted the official explanation, believing that Hackman's passing was peaceful and that Arakawa's death was a tragic but unrelated event. However, Hackman's daughter has now broken her silence, revealing details that challenge the original reports. Her statement suggests that something was off in the way both deaths were handled, and now, the circumstances surrounding their final moments are being questioned. According to official findings, Hackman passed away first, followed by his wife. Yet, his daughter has raised concerns about the timeline, hinting that certain details don't align. She has suggested that there may have been signs or factors that were initially overlooked and is now speaking out about the unanswered questions surrounding her father's death. As these new revelations come to light, the focus has shifted to what really happened in Hackman's home during those final hours. Was it truly a case of natural causes, or is there more to the story? Hackman's daughter has urged for a deeper look into the events leading up to their deaths, and her words have sparked renewed public and media interest. The case, once thought to be closed, is now surrounded by mystery, leaving many wondering if the full truth has yet to be revealed. Following Gene Hackman's passing and the subsequent death of his wife, Betsy Arakawa, official reports indicated that both deaths were due to natural causes. Authorities stated that Hackman passed away first, with Arakawa dying sometime later, likely due to grief or health complications following the loss of her husband. Initial medical examinations did not find any signs of foul play, and the case was considered closed after routine investigations.
Gene's daughter Hackman has broken her silence on her recluse father after his mysterious death. They said Gene Hackman's daughter Leslie has broken her silence following her father's mysterious passing in an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail.
However, Hackman's daughter has since challenged parts of the official account, suggesting that certain details do not align with what the family knows. She has stated that the timeline of events seems unclear, raising questions about the exact circumstances leading up to their deaths. While she has not directly accused anyone of wrongdoing, her statements indicate that she believes there may have been overlooked factors in the official investigation. One of the key issues she has highlighted is the uncertainty surrounding the time of death for both individuals. Official records indicate that Hackman was deceased for a certain period before Arakawa, but there has been speculation that this estimation might not be entirely accurate. Hackman's daughter has expressed concerns about whether medical and forensic evaluations were thorough enough to determine an exact timeline.
Leslie Ann Hackman told Daily Mail on Thursday that the family is waiting to hear from law enforcement regarding the cause of passing, as their death remains a mystery. Leslie and her sisters, Elizabeth Gene Hackman, can only speculate that their father and stepmother, along with one of their dogs, may have passed away by inhaling toxic fumes due to the carbon monoxide leak.
Additionally, she has mentioned that her father appeared to be in stable health prior to his passing, leading some to wonder whether there were undetected medical issues or external factors involved. She has also pointed out that her stepmother's final moments remain unclear, as there are gaps in the details of what happened between Hackman's death and Arakawa's passing. While the official reports maintain that both deaths were unrelated and occurred naturally, Hackman's daughter's claims have led to renewed interest in the case. Her concerns suggest that more information may need to be examined to understand exactly what happened. As her statements continue to circulate, questions about the accuracy of the official findings remain, prompting some to call for a re-examination of the case. The discovery of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's bodies raised more questions than answers, particularly regarding the timeline of their deaths and the unusual circumstances surrounding the scene. According to official reports, Hackman was found deceased first, located near the foyer of their home, while Arakawa's body was discovered in another part of the house days later. This discrepancy in their locations and the estimated times of death has been a central point of concern for Hackman's daughter, who has since spoken out about the details that don't seem to add up. Emergency responders were called to the residence after a wellness check was requested. Upon arrival, they found Hackman's body in a manner that suggested he had been dead for a significant amount of time before being discovered. The exact cause of death was initially listed as natural, with no immediate signs of struggle or injury. However, forensic examiners later determined that Arakawa was alive for an unspecified period after Hackman's passing, further complicating the official timeline. What remains unclear is what transpired between the time of Hackman's death and the discovery of Arakawa's body. Reports suggest that certain parts of the house were in an unusual state, with indications that Arakawa may have attempted to care for her husband before passing herself. The details of her final days remain uncertain, and Hackman's daughter has since raised concerns about the lack of clarity regarding what exactly happened during this period. Another point of concern has been whether there were any external factors or undetected medical issues that contributed to their deaths. With the forensic timeline showing a gap between their passing, the question remains whether Arakawa's condition worsened due to shock, exhaustion, or another medical factor that was not immediately addressed. Hackman's daughter has spoken out about her family's lingering concerns, particularly regarding the accuracy of the time of death estimates and whether there were any warning signs that were overlooked. As more details emerge, the focus remains on determining whether additional forensic reviews are necessary to fully understand what happened in those crucial final days. Following the chilling discovery of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's bodies, attention turned to Hackman's health in his final days. At 95 years old, Hackman had long been retired from the public eye, choosing to live a quiet life in Santa Fe, New Mexico. While age-related conditions were inevitable, those close to him believed he was relatively stable in terms of his health. However, new information from his daughter suggests that there may have been overlooked warning signs leading up to his death. Hackman had no publicly known life-threatening illnesses, and while he had experienced health concerns over the years, he was not reported to be in a critical condition prior to his passing. His daughter has now stated that there were concerning signs that went unnoticed, raising the possibility that his health was worsening in ways that were not properly addressed. One of the points she brought up was his lack of communication in the days before his death. Hackman was known for being private, but even in his later years, he maintained consistent contact with close family and friends. A sudden drop in communication could indicate a health episode or unexpected medical emergency. Additionally, medical records from his final checkups are now being reviewed, as his daughter has questioned whether any early warning signs were dismissed or overlooked. There is also concern regarding the events that followed his passing and how they may have affected Arakawa. Reports indicate that she may have struggled in the days after his death, which could have led to a delay in seeking medical attention for herself. If Hackman's death was sudden, Arakawa may have been physically and emotionally overwhelmed, possibly leading to her own deterioration. Hackman's daughter has emphasized the need to examine how both deaths were handled to understand whether a more urgent response could have changed the outcome. With new questions being raised about Hackman's last days, forensic and medical experts are taking a closer look at whether his health records, final interactions, and possible symptoms before his death were thoroughly analyzed. While the cause of death has been labeled as natural, the timeline and circumstances surrounding his passing remain under scrutiny. Following the concerns surrounding Gene Hackman's health in his final days, questions have also been raised about the circumstances of Betsy Arakawa's death. According to official reports, Arakawa passed away sometime after Hackman, though the exact timeline remains unclear. Investigators initially suggested that grief and emotional distress may have contributed to her passing, but Hackman's daughter has indicated that there could be more to the story. One of the primary theories surrounding Arakawa's death is that she may have experienced a medical emergency that went unaddressed. With Hackman already deceased, it is possible that Arakawa was in distress but had no immediate assistance available. Given the secluded nature of their residence, if she was unable to reach out for help, this could have resulted in a delayed response that ultimately proved fatal. Another aspect under examination is whether Arakawa's health had already been deteriorating prior to Hackman's passing. While much of the focus has been on Hackman's final days, Arakawa's condition has received less scrutiny in the investigation. If she was already facing underlying health concerns, the stress of losing her husband could have accelerated a decline in her physical state. Hackman's daughter has emphasized the need for a deeper look into the medical history of both individuals to determine whether there were any overlooked signs in Arakawa's condition before her passing. Additionally, forensic reports suggest that Arakawa may have spent an unknown period of time alone before her death. If she was already in a fragile state, a lack of immediate medical care may have worsened her condition. This raises further questions about whether earlier intervention could have prevented the tragic outcome. Hackman's daughter continues to express concerns over the way both deaths were handled, particularly whether enough was done to understand the exact sequence of events. While the case remains officially closed, the details surrounding Arakawa's passing are now being revisited as the family seeks more clarity on what happened in the final days of both Gene Hackman and his wife. As the circumstances surrounding Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths continue to be analyzed, several unanswered questions remain. While both deaths were officially ruled as natural, the inconsistencies in the timeline, medical reports, and personal accounts suggest that there may be details that were overlooked or not fully investigated. Hackman's daughter has openly expressed her concerns, stating that the full story has not yet been revealed. One of the most significant questions involves the exact sequence of events leading to Hackman's death and the period that followed. Reports indicate that Hackman was found days before Arakawa, yet there is no clear explanation for why there was such a delay in discovering her body. The fact that they were found in separate locations within the house has also raised speculation about what transpired during that time frame. Another point of concern is the medical condition of both individuals prior to their deaths. Hackman's daughter has hinted that her father showed no immediate signs of a health crisis, and his passing came without any publicly known medical warnings. Similarly, little is known about Arakawa's state of health before Hackman's death, leading to questions about whether she may have been dealing with an undiagnosed condition or physical distress that contributed to her passing. The forensic reports state that Arakawa was alive for an unspecified amount of time after Hackman's passing, yet no one was aware of her situation until both bodies were discovered. This raises further questions about whether she attempted to seek help, whether any external factors contributed to the delay in response, and what may have taken place in the household during that period. If Arakawa had been experiencing distress or a medical emergency, why was no one able to intervene sooner? Another element that remains unclear is whether the couple had any recent medical evaluations that could provide insight into their conditions. If there were previous doctor visits or health assessments, it is possible that there were signs of health deterioration that were not properly addressed. Hackman's daughter has suggested that a deeper look into their medical history and last known communications could offer more context on their final days. As these questions remain unanswered, the push for a re-examination of the events surrounding their deaths continues to grow. While no foul play has been suggested by authorities, the inconsistencies in the timeline and available evidence suggest that more information is needed to fully understand what happened in the final moments of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's lives. As concerns surrounding the timeline of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa's deaths continue to be discussed, another aspect under review is whether external factors played a role in the events that transpired. While official reports have ruled both deaths as natural, Hackman's daughter has questioned whether there were circumstances leading up to their passing that may not have been thoroughly examined. One consideration is whether their environment or external conditions contributed to their declining health. Hackman and Arakawa lived in a secluded property, which may have impacted the speed at which medical attention could have been provided if needed. If either had experienced a medical emergency, the remoteness of their home could have played a role in delayed assistance, leading to a critical period where intervention was not possible. Another factor that has been considered is whether stress, isolation, or other external pressures had an effect on their well-being. While Hackman had largely stepped away from public life, he still had ongoing responsibilities related to his estate and personal affairs. If there were underlying concerns or issues that were not previously disclosed, it is possible that these factors contributed to his overall health decline. Additionally, there has been speculation about the presence of any undetected environmental hazards within the home, such as air quality issues, exposure to harmful substances, or other medical risks that may not have been immediately apparent. While no reports have indicated anything unusual about the home itself, some experts have noted that certain undiagnosed environmental factors can contribute to rapid health deterioration, particularly in elderly individuals. Hackman's daughter has emphasized that she is not making direct accusations, but rather seeking a more thorough review of the circumstances to ensure that no details were overlooked. She has also stated that understanding what truly happened is essential, not just for closure, but also for ensuring that a full and accurate picture of her father's final days is established. As discussions continue, further investigations may shed more light on whether external factors, environmental conditions, or unseen medical issues played a role in the passing of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. Until more clarity is provided, their deaths remain a subject of both personal and public scrutiny. With the many unanswered questions surrounding the deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, Hackman's daughter has expressed a desire for more clarity and further examination of the events. While the official reports have ruled both deaths as natural, the inconsistencies in the timeline, medical assessments, and personal accounts have led the family to seek additional verification of the findings. As of now, no legal action has been taken to reopen the case, but the family is reportedly consulting with medical and forensic experts to better understand whether there were any overlooked factors in Hackman's final days. If new evidence emerges, it could lead to a formal request for a deeper review of the official investigation. Beyond the immediate questions surrounding their passing, Hackman's daughter has emphasized the importance of preserving her father's legacy and ensuring that his final moments are fully understood. The family remains committed to honoring his life and contributions while also seeking peace of mind regarding the circumstances of his death. For now, the case remains officially closed, but the ongoing discussions and public interest suggest that there may be further developments in the future. Whether through private inquiries or formal reviews, Hackman's family continues to search for the answers they need while ensuring that his memory is respected. As more details come to light, the family hopes to reach a sense of closure, knowing that all possible explanations have been considered.